My name is Ariel Sorensen and I am an academic advisor in the BBA Advising Center.
I'm Kelly Keene. I am the Director of Student Life.
So I'm Jamie Marsh-Finko and I am lucky to be the Director of BBA Career Services here in the Wisconsin BBA program.
A business student should study abroad because they can gain globalization knowledge, they can get a competitive edge when applying to jobs, and they also need to understand international business as many companies are moving towards more of an international presence. They'll be able to understand globalization, and they should also be able to network while they're abroad and build connections and relationships with people that they may be able to expand upon later in their career.
I think there are a lot of great reasons to study abroad. When students go abroad, they learn a lot about themselves and their skills and how they react to being in a new environment and in a new culture. So I think the self-awareness and the growth in that way can be really helpful. But I also think they can learn a lot about interacting with other people and also have some fun. And I think it's really great to understand business in a global environment because that's what a lot of students will be facing once they graduate and enter their industries and start their careers.
Well, let me count the ways. I think study abroad is one of the most amazing experiences a college student can have. Number one, there's so much value in getting to travel and see other parts of this great big world, but I think there's a lot of tangible benefits that can really impact the student. I think from a personal perspective, part of the college experience is learning who you are. And in order to really learn who you are, you need to dig deep and have experiences that take you outside of your comfort zone. So going to a country that you've never been to before, perhaps where the native language is not English, forces students to really step outside their comfort zone. And through that process, you learn how to become comfortable in situations that are not commonplace to you every day. You might learn or be challenged to learn a new skill like a new language. You'll be looking at different cultural norms and kind of comparing and assessing how that compares to the US culture. But also getting out there, having more of a global mindset, meeting new people, and really kind of challenging again who you are, what your thoughts are, so when you leave the college experience, you're a more well-rounded person. So those are examples of things that I think are really beneficial through a study abroad program.
I've seen students definitely develop their language proficiency. I think communication skills is definitely a big one that I see students build upon. Also, problem solving, resourcefulness, an appreciation of diversity and inclusion, and also the ability to adapt and appreciate differences among people and cultures.
I've seen students develop so many different skills and a lot of really valuable skills, and in a lot of ways I think it depends on how a student approaches their study abroad experience and how intentional they are about trying new things and learning the culture and the country they're in. But regardless of a student's location or program, I think almost all students who go abroad definitely learn about being in a new environment, being in a different culture, having to learn different ways of doing things or approaching things, and I think that brings a lot of growth in terms of flexibility and problem solving. And obviously there are communication skills that get developed when you're interacting in a different culture with other people. So there are a lot of skills to be gained or to be developed, but I think those are some of the more common ones that I've seen with all students that have gone abroad.
Stepping outside of that comfort zone, I think, promotes a lot of self-awareness. One of our frameworks within KD-BIN is sort of that personal knowledge, knowing who you are so that you can be your best. So again, I think it forces a lot of personal reflection. I think students are resilient. So if you hop on the tube and you go the wrong direction, you kind of learn how to navigate a different type of city, again, a different type of culture. I think for a lot of students too, being able to sit in a classroom in a different place and learn history from a very different perspective, again, allows you to challenge what you've learned, maybe from your experience in the United States, combine the facts that you have and maybe formulate a different type of opinion. That's critical thinking skills. Applying them to solve problems, those are things that employers are looking for in all of our students. So I think the students who study abroad definitely have a competitive advantage if they learn how to really articulate what they've learned and really apply it and how they would help impact the employer and the society when they come back.
Study abroad is part of the BBA experience because students are able to get a deeper knowledge of other worldviews, their worldview, get experience with other cultures, people of other nations. Students are able to expand their worldview, learn about international business, and also gain a lot of personal and professional growth.
Study abroad is valuable for the BBA experience because, again, it gives that context in a global environment where students can understand beyond just the walls of Granger what it means to engage in business, to study business, to be a business person in a global context. And that is so valuable when they go out into the world and start working and are interacting with people across the globe in their teams and in their organizations.
Again, in the BBA experience, we're trying to transform students. And so again, coming in as a student, we hope you know a little bit about yourself, your interests, your skills, but by the time you've gone through your 4, maybe 4+ years with us, that you're really thinking about who am I? What am I interested in? What are my skills? You know, what academic progress do I want to make in terms of a major? What classes do I want to take? What career path am I on? What types of involvement or leadership skills do I want to build? And then can I take those skills and further develop them in a place that, again, is stretching me in my abilities and challenging me in new ways? And I think, again, for students who have that experience, they're really learning, they're growing, they're really forced to reflect at an early age. So when they get into the working world, I think they have a very great advantage by knowing more about themselves that perhaps students who don't study abroad won't know until they're kind of faced with those types of experiences.
I think when students are abroad, they get to experience a different educational system, maybe different teaching methods. They might be in a much smaller classroom or a much larger classroom. They're just getting to experience a lot of differences in even the educational setting, and when they come back, they're able to apply what they've learned to the classes that they take back at UW-Madison. They're better able to articulate their educational experiences and their academic experiences. When students come back from being abroad, they're able to share that knowledge with their peers and also their professors and be more engaged in the classroom.
So in the student life unit, one of the things we try to do is create opportunities for students to learn about leadership and to practice leadership. So when a student is abroad and they're being exposed to different ways of thinking or different ways of doing things, it's really going to help them prepare for future leadership situations where they need to be able to work with people who are different from them. And they need to be able to build a team of people with different skills and personalities and bring that team together. So being in an environment where they are around people that are different from them are going to help them do that and help them be a better leader because they can communicate across different cultures, personalities, and just communicate and work with people that maybe don't have the same background as they do. I also think it's really important for leaders to be open to new things. So leaders are, because they're engaging in leadership, they are helping a team move toward something new. They're trying to implement a change. So they need to be open to new ideas and new possibilities. So when you're abroad and every day you're encountering new things, it can be really great practice for getting into the habit of envisioning new possibilities and new things. And lastly, I think when you're abroad, because you're doing so many different things, you're experiencing new things, you're being tested in a lot of ways, your skills are being developed. It's a lot of opportunity to grow and learn, and sometimes that means things don't always work out perfectly or things don't always match expectations, and I think that can help with problem-solving skills. And again, leaders help teams work toward solutions. They help them overcome problems. So from a leadership perspective, that kind of development and learning can be really helpful and really help students when they come back and they're working with group projects or they're working with future teams that they'll lead in the workplace.
So career services is really the culmination of everything that's learned in the BBA experience, and our role is to build relationships with students and with employers to help make connections so students can get great internships that lead into full-time positions and then obviously career readiness throughout their lifetime. So again, through that study abroad experience, the more that students know about themselves, what their true interests are, what type of environments they want to work in, what fits well for them, the better career readiness they'll have, the more satisfied they will likely be in their workplace. And so we encourage students to take this leap into the study abroad experience. It's great and it's fairly easy to time with the recruiting process. We try to make it as simple as possible. And again, we see and we hear from our employers all the time that the students who study abroad are they come with a very different global mindset, and they're really kind of ready and self-aware about what they want to do in the future, and they're ready to hit the ground rolling.